All right, guys, this is Yhennifer Mendez, and I'm tuning in from beautiful, sunny Orlando, Florida. And I am so excited today because I have a special guest here on this call. This is actually a fellow co-author with me. We are co-authoring a book called Your $1,000,000 Story. And this is a series of interviews. You guys are going to be seeing a couple interviews every couple days inside of these groups, share, pretty much everybody sharing a little bit of their background, their journey, how they got involved with the whole book. And today I have Dr. Grace Lee. I am so excited you are here today, and I cannot wait to share with the world the amazingness, what you have accomplished. And I got a whole bunch of questions for you. But the first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you right here on this call. Thank you for taking time to be here with me. And second of all, we're going to start with the first question. So are you ready?
I am. I'm super excited to be here too. So thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I appreciate your time. So the first one is, so tell me where you're from and what do you do? What do you currently do? What is your business? What do you do?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm originally from Hong Kong. I always have to go through the the
Yeah,
original
the
because I lived in
before.
so yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. I lived in so many different places, right? So originally I'm from Hong Kong, but currently I am based in Vancouver, Canada, on the West Coast. Also very sunny, except during the winter months. So right now we're in our foggy fall, soon to be rainy season.
Yeah,
So I can't say happy sunny weather here. No, not yet, not
not yet.
anymore. Right. And so in my business, my business is called Mastery Insights, and it's more than just a business to me. I mean, it is a global movement. So I've created a global movement, which I lovingly, endearingly called Career Revisionist. And really what I do is that I show professionals how to joyfully earn more, be more, have more, love more in their careers, and how they can develop what I call a true vocational confidence. Right,
Yes.
where it doesn't
Awesome.
where it doesn't matter what's going on in the economy, what's going on in the job applications. It doesn't matter anything outside of you, that you can move ahead in your career. And when people think career, they think, oh, is it the corporate life? Is it corporate? Is it nonprofit? Well, career spans business ownership too, right?
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship, business ownership, that is career. So that is what I do, is just helping professionals to up level their career.
And how did you get involved with that? Like, how did you land in that field?
Well, it's interesting. It was all intentional. There's nothing accidental about it. It was very intentional. So, as my name suggests, I'm a doctor. I'm a brain doctor. So
Mhm.
during my 10 years of academic education, my university, I had three university degrees. My last one was my doctorate. And in that degree was when I really started to identify that there's a gap in the education system, right? The
Mhm.
system teaches you subject matter stuff. You get all this knowledge, whatever you chose to major in, you get all the knowledge there. But that's where the education stops. School systems don't teach you how to take that knowledge, how to package it and turn it into money in the bank.
Mhm.
Right? They don't teach you how to build a career, how to grow a career, how to start or launch a career. They don't teach you these things. And so I set out on my mission, I made it my mission to close that education gap. And I started just like mentoring people in the classroom setting. And then that's where I started to have, I need to have a bigger vision than this, because
Mhm.
this is more than just in my city. It's more than just in my region, right? Globally, institutions are not equipped to show people how to do that. And so what it ended up looking like was me becoming a career mentor, a career educator,
Mhm.
where I give people the skills on developing vocational confidence.
Yeah, it's so true that you mentioned that because, I went to school too. My degree's in business administration. I went all the way to my master's. And when I left school, I didn't know what to do. Like it was like I had this degree and I had this. So it's what you made your mission is actually what, a lot of people face every single day when they graduate from college. So that is so awesome. All right. Next question. Through this journey while you was building your movement, because we're not even going to call it a career, right? You said that this has become a movement in your mission. Was there ever a time where things got rough and you wanted to like give up on that?
Well, there were
Share
there
a
were
little bit.
Right. So ups and downs, yes, definitely. Throughout the whole journey, even before I became an entrepreneur, the whole career journey, there were ups and downs. But I never wanted to give up. I was never, yeah, I never wanted to give up.
Mhm.
I'm just the type of person where if it is what I was meant to do, if it is my mission, I've identified this as my life's purpose, then no
Mhm.
matter what, I'm going to accomplish it, because there's so many people out there that need to hear this message, that
Mhm.
really need to connect with their mission, that really need to create an inspired and fulfilling life. And so I can't give up. I can't
Yeah.
afford to, because there's too many people that need that transformation.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
great answer. So, okay, so you never felt like giving up. What about, can you share like one of maybe the hardest obstacles you had to face during that journey, like,
Sure.
while you were growing?
Yeah. So I guess my
A little
biggest
tough questions. I'm putting you in the spot.
no. It's good that business owners share these things, because it's not all roses and spoons.
Yes.
Right. And that's the thing though. I have a lot of people come through and they're like, well, I'm so sick and tired of my job. I want to be my own boss. I want to start my own business. Right. And the grass always appears greener on the
Yeah.
other side. But there's always benefits and drawbacks to everything, even in business. So when I first started my business, the biggest challenge I had was really getting started.
Putting it
Right. Just
together, take it and
right.
getting started.
Oh yeah, getting started, because I had an idea of how of what I wanted to do. I know
Mhm.
exactly where my strengths are, how I help people, but then how do I find those people, right? How do I find people who want what I have? How do I reach out to them? How do I have more outreach? Right? I wanted a global movement. How do I make it global? How do I reach
Mhm.
out to people overseas? Right? So there was so many things like that: marketing, sales, systems, processes, team building, all of that. Every time you grow a little bit, I have higher level challenges. I grow a
Mhm.
little bit more, then there's more challenges. So every time I solve a problem, it creates a different problem,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's really the reality.
Yeah, it's definitely not always peaches and cream, like everyone says. But it is worth it, right? The payoff at long term. And, when we see the people that we serve and they're getting what they need, it's all worth it at the end. So now that you mentioned, this wasn't in my questions, but now that you mentioned the whole getting started in business and marketing, I know you are part of the ClickFunnels community. How did you hear about ClickFunnels, and how, how did you get started in that world?
It's interesting. I heard about ClickFunnels when I attended Funnel Hacking Live, earlier this year. And that was the first time I ever heard of ClickFunnels.
This year?
This year, yes.
Wow,
I
that's
know.
amazing.
Just this year. So it's been less than 1 year that I heard about ClickFunnels, and that I even knew who Russell Brunson was. I had
Look
no
at that.
idea.
Russell
So
Brunson. Okay, ClickFunnels, guys. If you don't
that
have ClickFunnels, you better be using funnels for your business. If you're watching this, you need to go check them out. So how did you get to that event? Like, did somebody invite you? Did you see it online? Kind of, how did that work out?
someone invited me.
Yeah.
Right. Someone invited me and was like, so my intent of going there was different. I wasn't planning on becoming part of the community. I was there just to be a part of my clan, just to support, the people I knew in funnel hacking, and just to be a part of that group, and we can go and have dinner together and mastermind together. That's all it
Hmm.
was. But as soon as I got there, Funnel Hacking Live started. This huge, this rush of energy. Russell Brunson goes on stage, he brings up his tribe. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Yeah,
Right.
building your tribe, for sure, for sure. I think for me, so my first funnel hacking live was 2018, and so it was, the year before this one, and it completely changed my way of seeing marketing. Seriously, it completely changed the relationship building. I mean, I've always been a networker, and I love to connect with people. I love going to masterminds and learning, but it's just a different atmosphere in the funnel hacking world. So I definitely feel the same way, like where you're talking about the energy and the people, and then when Russell gets on stage, is definitely unforgettable. So are you going to 2020? I hope so. I get to meet you there. That'll be amazing. Give you a hug. And then we can take a picture with the book together.
Yeah, that's right. You bet I'll be there.
Yes, I cannot wait. That's going to be amazing. Okay, so now that we're starting to talk about the book, so how did you get involved with the book? Tell me, I know Jamie is pretty much, the project manager of this whole ordeal. And thank you, Jamie, because I'm pretty sure you're going to watch this interview. So how did you connect with Jamie? How did that come about? How did you get involved with the book?
Right. So Jamie and I were already connected through the Tucumã Club, that tribe. So we were already connected there. And but I didn't know she was doing the book.
Mm-hmm,
Right? So she must have started reaching out to people. And it was one of our fellow co-authors that recommended me. Yeah. And she recommended me because she heard my story through another online summit that I did. And
mm-hmm.
I guess she attended it. And so she recommended me to Jamie. And then one thing led to another and she invited me on board.
Yeah, and here we are. That's
That's right.
awesome. So if you're watching this video, it's because we are interviewing the authors this whole week for the book. It's actually 10 authors. So I'm one of the authors. Dr. Lee, Grace Lee is here. She's another author. And this book is pretty much entrepreneurs sharing about things that they overcame, coming from nothing to something, and what they did in their journey to move forward, to get ahead, to overcome, to never give up, and sharing with you guys, because this is for you guys, the strategies that help them, pivot to the next level in success in their business. And that's why it's called Your $1 Million Story. Now, some of our authors have crossed that $1 million mark already. Some are very well on their way there. So we are so passionate about this project, and we are so excited for you to read it, which is coming out. We're gonna have the pre-release the first week of December. So somewhere on here there should be a link where you can register to be able to get the message, the reminder of when the book is coming out, so you can get the pre-release. Like, you want to make sure that you get this book, and you want to have like pen and paper ready when you're reading this book, because you're going to want to take notes on what all these people did so that you can learn and also take your business to the next level. So yes, I had to drop that call to action in there somewhere in this video. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so writing the book and writing your chapter in there, was there any aha moments that you experienced that you was like, wow, I can't believe I really did like overcame this, or wow, I didn't think about this while I was going through it, but I need to add this in my story. Did you have any of those kind of aha moments? I know I did. So maybe you can share a little bit about yours.
Yeah, sure. So I had a very traumatic childhood, right? It was one where I was an orphan and there was homelessness in there as well in the mix, and just being destitute and suicidal at very dark years of my childhood. And it went right into my adolescence as well, completely alone. And see, for the longest time, during my first college degree as well and into my second college degree, I was so ashamed of my story that I would never tell it.
Mhm.
And if anyone asked, I would lie and tell
A
my
different
dream
story.
life. I would not lie, or not say anything, or divert the question or something like that, because I was so ashamed of what really happened in my childhood.
Hmm.
But that's a long time ago. And so every time I share my story, and I've done it many times since, but every time I share my story or I write about it, it really is an affirmation that our personal stories have a lot of power. Right?
Hmm.
There's power in story. There's power in the story that we tell people. There's also power in the story that we tell ourselves, right? And when the two are congruent, that's where we can really change lives. That's
Hmm.
when people hear it, they can resonate with it, and it can move people.
Yeah.
And that was like this kind of like a solidification of what I felt all along, but I wasn't able to do it until I could own the facts of my life.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy that you mentioned that, because my first mentor, which actually endorsed the book too, so excited about that. He was the one that pushed me to ever, like when I first ever share my story online anywhere. I believe it was either through a webinar or Facebook Live or something like that. He's like, listen, if you don't share your story, how do you expect to inspire people that are going through the same situation that you already overcame? And that was kind of more the aha moment for me. Like it wasn't about me anymore. Like I already overcame that struggle and that hurdle in my younger years. Like now it became about the mission of helping other people and how to get them to overcome. So when I started sharing my story, like vulnerably, I cried every single time on these Facebook Lives, because at that time it was so recent. And he's like, if you don't do this, how you gonna, I remember his voice like plays in my head. If you don't do this, how you gonna impact people? How you gonna impact people? How you? And when I started doing that, people would message me that I didn't even know, like people that randomly would watch either on YouTube or Facebook. They're like, oh my God, I'm going through that right now. I'm going through that right now. Like, you're so inspiring, and that is where I was like, wow, like I need to stop like holding this back and like share with people, because at the end of the day, like you just said, there is power in our story. Obviously the story that we tell ourselves to like get over and overcome these things, but then when we share with other people, it just makes so much impact, because we could touch, with the internet, we could touch hundreds and thousands of people, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so can you tell my audience from your perspective? I already shared why I felt like they need to get the book. Why do you feel like they need to get this book?
Sure. I mean, as Jennifer mentioned, this is your $1 million story. It's not our $1 million story. It's yours too. Right. And so there's this component of sometimes you just don't feel like this is what you want and what you dream of is a possibility for you. Sometimes you really want something, you feel that yearning, that burning desire towards it, but you just don't feel that it is in the cards for you because it seems so far down the path. It feels like you don't have the resources, or sometimes it feels like, well, I don't know if I can get there, right? If I don't know how to get there. But when you read about others who have done something where they started so far down the path, so far from it, didn't have the resources, humble beginnings, maybe even horrible beginnings,
Mhm.
that really does something. It gives you evidence. It gives you evidence that it's not only possible, but if others have made it work, then you can do it too, right? Because
Yeah.
we're not smarter than you, we're not more qualified, that we're not more special than you in any other way. But when you do hear it, it does something to you, your belief system, right?
Yeah.
And really it starts with belief. When you have that evidence that others have done it too, therefore you can do it. You can see how others have turned their pain into profit and purpose. Then it's inspiring, right? And
Yeah.
inspiring moves people, it moves you, right? So sometimes you need that motivation, that inspiration, and also drawing from there, okay, what did they do to get there? And
Mhm.
that you can craft your own game plan in the process.
Yeah, for sure. It's like that breaking that limiting belief, right? Like that Russell talks about breaking that pattern, because it all starts with that. Like once you know in your heart, in your gut, in your soul that you can do something because you saw somebody else do it and we're just normal people, then it feels more real. Like, wow, I can really do this. And yeah, that was amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. So that wraps up all my questions here today. I guess that was the last one, like why you should get this book. We are so excited for this book, guys. We have been planning this for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. A lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. I know there were tears dropped. I mean, all kinds of things happened during this time when we were putting together our stories. And I also think that we got to know each other more, through reading everybody's stories and reading what they were able to overcome. And I'm honored, Grace, to be quite honest, I'm honored to be part of this project with all you amazing people. And I cannot wait for the world to see what we have put together, not because we're in it, but because our goal is to inspire you the reader, to inspire your mind, to inspire your heart, and give you that extra little push and like, yes, you can do this too. So I'm excited. Any last words you want to share? Grace, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time and coming on here with me today.
Thank you for the invitation. I really enjoyed talking to everybody, talking to you, and I hope to see you on the other side.
Yes. All right, guys. See you on the next interview for your $1 million story. Bye-bye.